Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're bringing you a very, I would say, embarrassing lesson for us men.
Right. Embarrassing for men, but I think it's okay for women.
That's right. We're going to be talking about buying underwear, specifically women's underwear.
Right. So, obviously not the favorite thing for men to do.
Well, apart from being a little bit uncomfortable, it's also boring.
Yeah, it involves shopping, right?
It involves shopping, so we're not really big on that.
All right, but, well, even though it might be a little bit of an uncomfortable topic, there is some great language in here, isn't there?
Yeah, there's some really good words, and of course, the different types of underwear that we're going to be looking at.
Yep.
But we also have some words that we're going to take a look at before we get into our dialogue, so let's start with vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Well, we're going to look at two words that will appear in our dialogue, and the first one is lingerie.
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 Okay, so lingerie, this is a nice fancy word. Mm-hmm. Basically for underwear, right?
Right, for women's underwear.
Women's underwear.
Yeah.
So lingerie, but it's very nice, very...
Like pretty sexy.
Sexy underwear, yeah.
Now, the spelling of this word is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's spelled Lingerie.
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 Yes. Don't you love English spellings?
So, women's nice, pretty, sexy underwear.
That's right. And our second word, awkward.
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 So this is a feeling that men have, especially when they're buying women's underwear.
Well, yeah, you feel a little bit uncomfortable,
Yeah.
or it's a strange situation.
Or weird, or
Yeah.
out of place.
It's awkward.
Yes. All right, so we're going to be hearing both of these two words in the dialogue. Now, Marco, where are we here?
We're going to be at a department store at the section where they have women's lingerie, and we have a guy buying underwear for his girlfriend.
All right, well, let's find out what happens.
This sucks. I hate buying lingerie. Okay, just find something and get out of here. All right, these are fine. Oh, no, don't come over here. Don't come over here.
You look a little lost. Can I help you?
I'm just having a look around. It's my girlfriend's birthday tomorrow. I'm trying to find her something.
Well, you can't give her granny panties. Have you thought about getting her some sleepwear? We've got these lovely silky nighties, or how about some nice panties and a bra set? Look, here's a nice satin push-up bra, and you can choose a few different styles of undies to go with it.
Sure, that's fine. This is so awkward. What ones do I pick? What size is she?
Well, do you want a thong? Some bikini briefs? Maybe this nice pair of lacy boy shorts.
Just pick something and get the hell out of here. I'll go with these two. This is mortifying. I just want to get this over with, and she better thank me for this.
Here you are, sir. I'm sure she'll enjoy them.
Finally.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to have to take a look inside your bag.
Oh, the poor guy. I totally feel bad for him.
Yeah, he was really nervous, and of course, it was very uncomfortable for him.
I know, and then the security guard shows up.
Exactly. But we had the opportunity to take a look at some really great words and phrases. So let's start off with our first one in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, well, we're going to look at words here that mostly have to do with underwear, describing underwear.
Right.
And the first one is granny panties.
Granny panties.
Granny panties.
This isn't like a real word, right? It's not something you'll find at a dictionary.
No, it's a slang word. And we use it to describe really big, ugly underwear like your grandmother would wear.
All right, so they're not like the sexy little underwear. It's
No.
more like long, and it's not very appealing.
Just picture what your grandmother would wear.
No. All right, so granny panties.
So obviously, this guy doesn't want to be buying any of those, but the saleswoman suggests that he try some sleepwear.
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 Sleepwear. Okay, so sleepwear.
Obviously, clothes you wear when you're sleeping.
Now, this is really interesting because men aren't really that complicated when it comes to sleeping. Just throw on a t-shirt and that's it.
Well, obviously for women, there are more options and more different things you can choose from. So
Okay.
it's a whole separate category for
I know.
women.
Even when you're sleeping, you must wear something nice.
Yes.
One type of sleepwear is silky nighties.
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 Okay, so a nightie.
It's basically a dress that you wear when you sleep.
Okay. Now the pronunciation is interesting because the first 5 letters are night,
Right.
right? But you don't say night.
You don't say nighty.
You say nighty.
Yeah, you make the T a D. Nighty.
Now she offered him some silky nighties.
Right. So silky. Obviously, we know silk is a
Right.
soft, shiny fabric, right?
Right.
So when something is silky, it's either made from silk or it's
Similar.
soft and shiny.
Okay, so
Yep.
some silky nighties, very soft, shiny nighties.
Exactly.
Okay. What about our next word?
Well, the sales girl offers different styles of undies.
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 So undies is an interesting word. It's basically short for underwear.
Underwear, okay. So you can just call underwear undies.
Yes. But I think you mostly use this when you're talking about women's underwear.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't know if I would say undies when I'm talking about men's underwear.
No, I don't think so. Maybe children's underwear.
Yeah, for children.
For
Yep.
children, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we saw some of the different types of clothing, but now let's take a look at this interesting adjective, mortifying.
Mortifying.
This is mortifying.
Mortifying.
Okay, so when something is mortifying,
Well, I think we've got some examples to show you what that is like.
Example 1.
And then I fell in front of everyone. It was mortifying.
Example 2.
I was completely mortified when I realized what I had done.
Example 3.
It must have been mortifying for her when she realized that her underwear was showing.
so basically it's very embarrassing.
Super embarrassing.
You want to die almost.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I mean, mort.
Right? From
Yeah.
death,
French.
right?
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, etymology here at English Pod.
All right, so some interesting. Okay, so we saw the different types of underwear. We saw this really great word for when you're really embarrassed. So now let's take a look at some of the phrases that you would use when you're really embarrassed in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right. Well, we have 2 phrases to look at here. The first one, get the hell out of here.
Get the hell out of here.
Get the hell out of here.
Okay, so if I say I want to get the hell out of here,
You want to leave this place really quickly.
really quickly.
Yep.
Just, I want to leave.
Right now.
Now, when you're using this phrase or this sentence, get the hell out of here, is it really polite?
No, of course not. It's impolite.
Okay, so
it's
it's
really negative.
Very negative and informal, right?
Yep, yep.
So you would use this maybe with your friends or, like in this case, think it to yourself.
Yes, but it's not a good idea to use with your boss or your mother.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess sometimes depending on the tone you use, how you say it, you can sound really angry, right?
Definitely.
Right? Okay.
All right, well, let's listen to some examples.
Example 1.
This place is scary. Let's get the hell out of here.
Example 2.
What are you doing in my house? Get the hell out of here.
Example 3.
We were at a friend's party and all of a sudden her parents arrived. We got the hell out of there as quickly as possible.
All right. So get the hell out of here.
Get the hell out of here.
Now let's take a look at our last phrase for Fluency Builder. Get this over with.
Get this over with.
I want to get this over with.
So you want to finish it really quickly.
But you want to finish it because you're not really enjoying it, right?
Exactly. This is something that you use when the situation is negative.
It's negative. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to get this over with.
Yeah, I want to get this test over with. I want to get this day over with. I want to get this.
Maybe if you're on a bad date, I want to get this date over with.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
All right, well, interesting phrases. And I think it would help us to hear them once more in context in the dialogue.
This sucks. I hate buying lingerie. Okay, just find something and get out of here. All right, these are fine. Oh, no, don't come over here. Don't come over here.
You look a little lost. Can I help you?
I'm just having a look around. It's my girlfriend's birthday tomorrow. I'm trying to find her something.
Well, you can't give her granny panties. Have you thought about getting her some sleepwear? We've got these lovely silky nighties, or how about some nice panties and a bra set? Look, here's a nice satin push-up bra, and you can choose a few different styles of undies to go with it.
Sure, that's fine. This is so awkward. What ones do I pick? What size is she?
Well, do you want a thong? Some bikini briefs? Maybe this nice pair of lacy boy shorts.
Just pick something and get the hell out of here. I'll go with these two. This is mortifying. I just want to get this over with, and she better thank me for this.
Here you are, sir. I'm sure she'll enjoy them.
Finally.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to have to take a look inside your bag.
All right, so I guess this situation is very common. Men either having to shop for this type of article for their girlfriend or wife because it's their birthday.
Yep.
Or sometimes we get dragged into a store to buy this
So you're
stuff.
shopping with your girlfriend and she's going to make you go look at underwear with her.
Yeah, I usually don't do that though. I'll just go to the next section and just look around.
Look at tools.
Look at TVs and
Yeah.
PlayStations.
Yes. But you know what? I have seen some men who go shopping with their girlfriends or wives and actually enjoy buying underwear.
See, that's the thing. I think it makes sense, but I don't know how comfortable you would actually be. I don't know why. I guess just how it indicates sexuality and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Oh, well.
Like, I could do it for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, give my professional advice, and then
Yeah.
I'm out of there.
All right. Well, maybe those guys who look like they're enjoying themselves are just really talking in their heads, telling themselves how much they hate this.
Exactly. Maybe they're just
They're pretending.
pretending or listening to their iPod.
Well, tell us, guys, I know we've got a lot of male listeners. Tell us what you think. Are you embarrassed by women's underwear?
Right. Or women, why aren't you embarrassed when you buy men's underwear for your boyfriend or husband?
It started with a simple request, one that didn't seem like a big deal at first. My girlfriend was feeling a bit sick and couldn't leave the house, so she looked at me with those tired eyes and said, "Can you go to the store and buy me some underwear?" I paused. Underwear? I didn't know how to respond. Of course, I wanted to help her. But this wasn't just going to the store to buy snacks or medicine. This was personal. This was delicate. Still, I nodded and said, "Sure, no problem." I got dressed, grabbed my wallet, and left the apartment. But the moment I stepped outside, I could feel the anxiety building. I kept thinking, how do I even start this? What size does she wear? What color? I pulled out my phone and texted her. She quickly replied with a list. Size small, cotton, no lace, something simple, preferably white or light pink. I stared at the message and read it over 3 times to make sure I got it right. I didn't want to mess this up. As I walked toward the store, my heart beat faster than usual. I tried to tell myself, come on, it's 2025. There's nothing strange about a guy buying underwear for his girlfriend. But still it felt strange. I've never even gone near that section in the store before. Not once. And now I was about to go stand there and look at dozens of women's underwear options. Alone. When I arrived at the department store, I walked slowly through the entrance, pretending to browse other things. I went past the men's jackets, glanced at the shoes, even stopped at the electronics section to buy time. But I knew I couldn't avoid it forever. I had a mission. So, I took a deep breath and made my way to the women's clothing area. And there it was, the underwear section. Bright lights, soft music, and hundreds of styles. I had no idea what I was looking at. Some were lacy, others had ribbons, some were barely there, and a few looked like they were made for grandmothers. I tried to look confident as I walked closer, but I could feel my face getting warm. I kept telling myself to focus. Size small. Cotton. No lace. Light colors. I picked up a pair and looked at the label. Too fancy. Next one, wrong material. I started getting nervous. What if someone thought I was a creep? What if a sales assistant came over and asked, "Can I help you?" What would I even say? My brain raced with English phrases I could use. "I'm just looking," or "It's for my girlfriend," or maybe "She's sick and asked me to come." But none of them sounded natural in my head. I wanted to be invisible. Just grab the right thing and leave. But that's the thing about uncomfortable moments. They teach you a lot. I didn't know it yet, but I was about to learn more English, more confidence, and more about myself than I ever expected from a simple shopping trip. I stood there, frozen in front of a wall of underwear. There were so many choices that I didn't even know where to begin. Some had little bows, others had prints like strawberries or hearts, and some looked more like athletic wear. I remembered my girlfriend's message: cotton, small size, no lace, simple. But how could I tell what was cotton and what wasn't? Some labels said 95% cotton, some just said poly blend, and a few didn't say anything at all. I held one up, trying to read the tiny print on the tag, pretending like I knew what I was doing. That's when I noticed two women standing nearby. They were looking at me, curious, not unkind, just interested. One of them whispered something and giggled. I wanted to disappear. I felt awkward, like I had walked into the wrong restroom by mistake. But I stayed calm. I kept repeating the facts in my head like a shopping mantra. Small, cotton, no lace, light colors. I picked up a pack that looked promising. Simple, white, soft to the touch. I checked the size and finally, something matched. My heart settled a little. Maybe I could just grab this and go. But then I thought, what if she doesn't like it? What if it's the wrong cut? I didn't even know the names of different styles. Bikini, briefs, hipsters, boy shorts. It was like a whole new language. That's when I realized something important. If I really wanted to help her and learn something useful at the same time, I had to stop being afraid to ask. So I scanned the store with my eyes, looking for someone who worked there. And there she was, a young sales assistant, organizing clothes a few steps away. She looked friendly, maybe in her 20s. I slowly walked over and said, "Excuse me." My voice cracked just a little. She looked up with a polite smile. "I'm trying to buy some underwear for my girlfriend, but I'm not sure what kind to get." To my surprise, she didn't laugh. She didn't make it awkward. She just nodded and said, "Do you know her size?" I nodded quickly. "That's small." She wants something cotton, simple, no lace. Maybe light colors. She smiled again and said, "No problem. Let me show you a few options." I followed her back to the section I had been standing in for 10 minutes like a lost child. She picked out 3 different styles, all in light colors. These are all cotton. This one is a bikini cut, this one is hipster, and this one is more like a full brief. Depends on what she's comfortable in. I listened carefully. Bikini. Hipster. I repeated the words in my head so I wouldn't forget. She handed them to me and said, "You can also return them if they're not opened." That one sentence relaxed me even more. Return them? Good to know. I thanked her and walked toward the checkout, items in hand. I had done it. I had asked for help, learned some new words, and faced my fear. Buying underwear might not be a common English lesson, but for me, it was full of useful phrases, cultural lessons, and a big dose of real-life confidence. As I waited in line, I looked at the packaging again. Words like stretchable, breathable, and seamless caught my eye. These were new vocabulary words, and now they actually meant something to me. I wasn't just learning them, I was living them. Standing in the checkout line, I held the underwear like it was a top-secret package. My hands were a little sweaty, and I kept adjusting the items to hide the labels. I looked around. There were 2 people in front of me, an older man buying socks and a teenager with headphones scrolling through his phone. No one was looking at me, but I still felt exposed, like I had a big sign over my head that said, "This guy's buying women's underwear." I reminded myself to breathe. This was not a crime. I wasn't doing anything weird. I was helping someone I cared about. But my brain kept playing tricks on me. What if the cashier makes a comment? What if she asks, "Are these for your wife?" Or worse, what if she says nothing and just gives me that look? When it was finally my turn, I walked up to the cashier and placed the items on the counter as casually as I could. The cashier, a woman maybe in her 40s, picked them up and scanned them without saying a word. I was relieved. I didn't need small talk. I just wanted to pay and leave. But then she glanced at me and said, "That's a nice choice. Comfortable and simple. She'll probably like those." My eyes widened a little, but I smiled politely. "I hope so," I said. That was all I managed to say. Just 3 words. But it felt like a full speech. She gave me the total, I paid, and she handed me the small bag. "Have a good day," she said. I nodded and walked out of the store like I had just finished a marathon. My steps felt lighter. I had done it. I had faced my fear, completed the task, and even exchanged a few English phrases along the way. On the way home, I started thinking about how many real-life situations involve this kind of English. Not the kind from textbooks, but the kind you use when you're nervous, when you're trying to be polite, or when you don't know the right words and have to find a way to explain yourself. That's when I realized how powerful everyday language is. Words like simple, cotton, returnable, or even verbs like recommend and prefer became more meaningful. They weren't just vocabulary anymore. They were tools. Tools I had used in real time, in a real place, with real people. When I got back to the apartment, I handed my girlfriend the bag and said, "Mission complete." She opened it, looked inside, and gave me a big smile. "These are perfect," she said. I felt a strange sense of pride, not just because I got the right underwear, but because I had stepped way outside my comfort zone and survived. She asked me how it went, and I laughed a little. "You owe me big time," I said. But inside, I was thankful for the challenge. That trip to the store wasn't just about shopping. It was a full-on English adventure. And honestly, I learned more from those 20 minutes than I had in some English classes. Because when you're actually living the language, every word sticks. Every moment teaches you something. And sometimes, the most unexpected errands are the ones that help you grow the most. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about the whole experience. It was funny, a little embarrassing, but also kind of empowering. I had walked into a situation where I didn't feel confident at all. And somehow, I got through it. That gave me a kind of quiet confidence I hadn't felt before. It made me realize something important. Not all learning happens in a classroom. Sometimes, it happens in a shopping aisle under bright lights while you're trying to choose between hipster and bikini cuts. Later, I decided to write about the experience in my notebook. I have this habit of keeping a small English journal where I record phrases I hear or use during the day. This time, I added some new expressions: full brief, no lace, cotton blend, ask for help, return policy, and simple and comfortable. I even wrote a full paragraph in English about what happened at the store, trying to use all the new vocabulary I had just learned. As I was writing, I realized how useful these words were. These weren't just fancy vocabulary from a textbook. These were real, everyday expressions I had used in conversation, with a sales assistant and a cashier. They were connected to something I had lived. That made them easier to remember and, more importantly, easier to use again. The next day, something interesting happened. A coworker at the office mentioned she had to go shopping for clothes that evening. Normally, I would have stayed quiet, but this time I smiled and said, "I went underwear shopping this weekend for my girlfriend." It was an experience. Everyone laughed, and suddenly I was telling the story to the whole table during lunch. I spoke slowly, clearly, and naturally. I used all the vocabulary I had just learned. And the best part? I didn't feel nervous. I wasn't worried about grammar or making mistakes. I was just sharing a funny moment, and everyone was enjoying it. That's when it hit me again. Real language learning happens when you connect your words to your experiences. It's not about memorizing perfect sentences. It's about using what you know in the moment, even when you're unsure. Especially when you're unsure. I also noticed how much more comfortable I had become using everyday English expressions. I could say things like, I asked for assistance, or I wasn't sure about the right size, or it was kind of awkward at first. These are phrases that come up in daily life all the time, and now I had actually lived through them. Since then, I've been paying more attention to small daily moments. Ordering coffee, returning an item, asking for directions, all of these are chances to practice English. They don't feel like lessons, but they are. And the more I speak, the more natural it becomes. Buying underwear may not have been my proudest moment, but it turned out to be one of my best English lessons. Because language isn't just something you study, it's something you live. And if you're open to a little discomfort and a lot of curiosity, you'll find learning opportunities everywhere. A few days after the underwear adventure, I found myself thinking about confidence, how it grows, little by little, from the smallest situations. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that language learning is not really about perfection. It's about being brave enough to try, even when you feel a little uncomfortable. That weekend, my girlfriend and I went out for coffee. As we were walking through the shopping mall, she suddenly stopped in front of a store and said, "Do you want to come inside with me?" It was a lingerie boutique. She smiled, remembering what I had done for her earlier that week. "I just want to take a quick look." "Come on, you're an expert now." I laughed, but something was different this time. I wasn't nervous. I actually felt kind of proud. We walked into the store together, and this time, I looked around with curiosity instead of fear. I understood the layout. I recognized the words on the signs. Cotton. Seamless. Wireless support. Everyday comfort. These weren't just labels. They were part of my new vocabulary. While she was browsing, a sales assistant came over and asked if we needed help. My girlfriend turned to me and said, "You talk to her. You're better at this now." I almost said no out of habit, but then I nodded and asked, "Do you have this style in a different color?" The assistant smiled and answered right away, and we had a short, simple conversation. It was in that moment that I realized something had changed. My English didn't need to be perfect. What mattered was that I could ask a question, understand the answer, and respond without freezing. That was real progress. Later, we sat down at a cafe, and my girlfriend said, "I'm really proud of you. I know that wasn't easy the first time." I smiled and told her the truth. I think I learned more English from that one trip to the store than I did from a month of grammar exercises. And it was true. Vocabulary like soft fabric, customer service, fitting room, or even receipt suddenly meant more to me. I didn't just know the words, I had used them. That made all the difference. Over the next few weeks, I began paying more attention to the English around me. Product packaging, signs in stores, instructions on receipts, they were everywhere. I started making mental notes, whispering the new words to myself, trying to say them aloud when no one was listening. Everyday English was becoming part of my routine. I was no longer afraid to ask questions, return items, or ask for recommendations. And slowly, I noticed something even more important. People responded to me differently. Because I was speaking with more ease, they spoke to me more naturally too. That small trip to buy underwear wasn't just about shopping. It was about growth. It showed me that confidence comes from doing, and that even the most awkward tasks can teach you something useful, if you're willing to step up, speak out, and let yourself learn along the way. That night, as I was walking home from the gym, I passed by the same store where I had bought the underwear. I slowed down, almost without thinking. The bright window displays were filled with new arrivals, summer colors, light fabrics, clean designs. I stopped for a moment, smiled to myself, and kept walking. But in my mind, I was replaying the moment that started it all. I realized that what had felt like such a small, awkward task at first had become a turning point. It made me understand that everyday situations are full of chances to grow, not just in English, but as a person. Before that experience, I used to wait for perfect conditions to practice speaking. I thought I needed a classroom, a tutor, or a textbook. But now I knew better. A clothing store, a cafe, a customer service call, those are classrooms too. They teach you how real English works, with real people in real time. One thing I started doing after that was carrying a tiny notebook with me. Anytime I heard a useful phrase, saw an unfamiliar word on a sign, or spoke with someone in English, I'd write it down. I wrote not just the word, but also where I saw or used it, so I'd always remember the context. Words like tag, receipt, fitting, customer-friendly, restocking fee, and exchange policy had more meaning now. Even the grammar felt different. It wasn't about rules anymore. It was about rhythm. When I said things like, I was looking for a small size, or, do you have this in cotton? It felt more like music than math. I wasn't analyzing the structure. I was using it naturally and confidently. The next time a friend of mine asked, how do you practice your English these days? I told him the truth. I said, I go shopping. I ask for help. I talk to strangers. I make mistakes. That's my practice. He laughed, but then he paused and said, that actually makes sense. The more I did it, the more I realized something important. Most people are kind. When you speak with effort, when you're polite, and when you show that you're trying, people want to help. They don't care if your grammar is perfect. They care if you're sincere. That's something no textbook can teach. A few days later, I had to return a shirt that didn't fit. Normally, I would have avoided the task or asked someone else to do it. But this time, I walked into the store with confidence. I greeted the staff, explained the situation clearly, and asked for an exchange. It was a short conversation, but it went smoothly. Afterward, I felt proud, not just for speaking good English, but for handling real-life challenges in another language. It was the kind of progress that no test score could measure. Learning English had started as a goal, but now it was part of how I lived my life. I had built habits around it. I had made it personal. And most of all, I had found a strange but powerful truth. Sometimes, the best way to grow is to walk into a situation that makes you nervous and just keep going. Because on the other side of that discomfort, there's something better waiting: confidence, experience, and a story you'll never forget. A couple of weeks after the return, something unexpected happened. My girlfriend's friend, Anna, had just moved into town. She was settling into her new job, adjusting to a smaller apartment, and trying to get familiar with the city. One evening, we invited her over for dinner. We chatted, shared stories, and laughed over the usual moving struggles: missing boxes, forgotten passwords, getting lost on the subway. At some point in the evening, Anna mentioned she needed to go shopping for some essentials, clothes, toiletries, and a few household things. She looked a little unsure and said, I'm nervous about asking for help in stores. My English isn't that great when I'm under pressure. I smiled and said, let me tell you a story about how I bought underwear for my girlfriend. They both stared at me for a second, and then we all burst into laughter. I walked her through the whole thing: how awkward I felt, how I didn't know the words, how I had to ask a stranger for help, and how that tiny experience ended up teaching me so much. I could see her relax as she listened. She said, that makes me feel better. I guess I just need to go out there and try. That's when I realized how far I'd come. What used to feel like a problem had turned into a lesson I could share. And sharing it made the lesson even more real. Later that night, after Anna left, I sat down with my notebook and looked at the pages filled with words and phrases I had collected since that day in the store. Each note reminded me of a real moment, a real experience, a real emotion. That notebook wasn't just full of English. It was full of life. The truth is, English isn't just something you study. It's something you live through. And the more you live through it, the more it becomes a part of who you are. Every awkward moment, every brave question, every small victory adds up. And one day, without realizing it, you find yourself helping someone else take their first step. So here's what I've learned. Language is not about sounding perfect. It's about being real. It's about connection. It's about showing up in the world even when you're nervous and finding your voice in the middle of it all. And sometimes, that voice begins with something as simple as a pair of underwear. That's the beauty of learning through life. You grow without even noticing. You learn by living. And before you know it, your everyday struggles turn into your strongest stories.
Have you ever been in a situation where you walked into a store and immediately regretted it? Not because you didn't want to buy anything, but because of what you had to buy.
Oh yeah. Let me guess, buying something like women's underwear?
Exactly. There's something about it that just feels so uncomfortable for a lot of guys. I mean, you're standing there in the lingerie section, surrounded by silky fabrics and lace, trying to figure out the difference between a push-up bra and a balconette.
And let's be real, it's not like you can just casually browse. The moment you pick something up, someone appears out of nowhere asking, "Can I help you?" And you're like, No, I'm just looking around."
It's that awkward moment when you suddenly feel like the whole store is watching you. You try to act confident, but your brain is just screaming, "Get out, get out, get out."
Totally. And the worst part is trying to choose the right thing. There are so many types: bikini briefs, thongs, boy shorts, lacy, cotton, satin. You pick one up, stare at it, then wonder if it's the right size, the right style, the right everything.
And you start having this full-on internal dialogue. Would she wear this? Is this too much? Is it not enough? Does it even match? What size is she again?
At some point, most guys just grab whatever looks decent, throw in a matching bra, and sprint to the checkout like they're escaping a crime scene.
It's funny how buying something so small can feel so big. And you know what makes it even worse? When the cashier smiles and says something like, "Oh, these are lovely. I'm sure she'll love them." That just adds a whole new layer of awkwardness.
And if you're really unlucky, security might stop you at the exit for a random bag check. And then, boom, there it is right on top. A pair of pink satin undies. In public view.
You just want the ground to open up and swallow you. I remember once I was so mortified I couldn't even look the security guard in the eye.
It's honestly one of those moments where you start questioning your life decisions. Like, why didn't I just get her flowers? Or a gift card? Why lingerie?
But you know what's wild? Women rarely feel the same way when shopping for men's underwear. They walk straight into the men's section, pick up some briefs or boxers, maybe crack a joke about patterns, and they're done.
Exactly. There's no shame, no hesitation. It's just underwear. For men, though, lingerie shopping feels like walking through a social minefield.
I think it all comes down to how society views intimacy and gender roles. There's this idea that men shouldn't be involved in things considered feminine. But honestly, what's wrong with wanting to surprise your partner with something thoughtful?
Nothing at all. In fact, I think it's sweet if you can survive the embarrassment. But still, we could use some help navigating that world. Like, there should be a beginner's guide to lingerie shopping for men.
Step 1, know her size. Step 2, know her style. Step 3, don't panic.
And step 4, accept that it's going to feel awkward, and that's okay. Everyone feels a little weird doing something unfamiliar. But hey, the intention is what really counts.
You know, now that we've accepted how awkward it can be, let's actually break down what makes the experience feel so uncomfortable, especially for beginners.
Right. I think the first big reason is that most men just don't know the basics. Like, we don't grow up learning the difference between a thong and boy shorts. We just know underwear is underwear.
Exactly. But suddenly, when you're shopping for your girlfriend or wife, you're expected to be an expert in lace patterns, strap styles, cup sizes, and fabrics like satin or mesh.
And you feel this pressure to get it right. You want it to be sexy, but not too much. Comfortable, but also beautiful. And, of course, it has to fit perfectly. That's a lot to think about.
That's why it helps to start with the most important step, knowing her size. Seriously, without that, you're lost. You can't just guess and hope it'll work out.
And size isn't just one number. There's bra size, which is both a number and a letter, like 34B or 36C. Then there's underwear size, which might be small, medium, or large, or even numerical, depending on the brand.
And if you get it wrong, you risk making her feel uncomfortable or even worse, insulted. So if you're not sure, check one of her tags when she's not around or ask her in a casual way.
Some guys even secretly take a picture of the label to show the store assistant. Honestly, that's smart. It saves time and confusion.
Okay, once you know her size, the second thing is understanding her style. Does she prefer comfort or elegance? Does she like cotton undies or lace? Full coverage or minimal?
This is where paying attention really helps. Think about what she usually wears. If she's more into simple and classic styles, don't suddenly show up with red lace and animal prints. She might think you're shopping for someone else.
True. And remember, this isn't about buying what you want to see her in. It's about getting something she'll actually like. That's the real key to making it a thoughtful gift.
You know what's also helpful? Going for a matching set, a bra and panties that go together. It looks more elegant and planned. And most stores display them together, which makes things a bit easier.
Good point. And if you're really nervous, try something more neutral, like sleepwear. A silky nightie, for example, feels luxurious but is less personal than underwear. Still romantic but safer.
Yeah, you're still showing love and effort, but you avoid the stress of choosing the exact type of lingerie. Plus, many women actually love nice sleepwear.
It's all about balance. You want to surprise her in a good way, not overwhelm her or yourself.
Exactly. So if you go in prepared, knowing her size, thinking about her style, and keeping it simple, you'll have a much better experience.
And who knows, you might even walk out of that store feeling confident instead of mortified.
You know what else makes lingerie shopping easier? Having a plan before you walk into the store. Most guys just wander in, stare at the racks, and hope inspiration strikes. But that never works.
Yeah, I've done that. You just stand there looking confused, and then the store assistant comes over and you panic and say, "I'm just browsing," even though you desperately need help.
Exactly. So the smart move is to do a little research before you go. Check out the store's website, look at different styles, maybe even read a few reviews. Just getting familiar with the terms helps a lot.
Totally. Like once you know what a bralette is or what cheeky cut means, you stop feeling like you've landed on another planet. You don't have to become a fashion expert, but understanding the basics gives you confidence.
Also, if you can, go to a store where the staff are helpful and professional. Some shops are used to guys coming in completely clueless, and the employees are trained to guide you without making you feel weird.
Yeah, I once went to a place where the assistant asked me a few simple questions like, "Is it for a special occasion?" And "Do you know what kind of material she likes?" That made it feel like a normal shopping experience.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. You're not the first nervous guy to walk in there. Most of the time, they'll actually appreciate that you're putting effort into getting it right.
Another helpful tip, bring a photo of your partner's style. It could be a picture from a vacation or just something casual where she's wearing something similar. It gives the assistant a better idea of her taste.
That's actually a genius move. It avoids the guessing game and makes it more personal, without having to describe every detail.
And if you're really unsure, gift cards are always an option. Some guys feel like that's lazy, but honestly, if you pair it with a nice note or a card, it still shows you care.
I agree. It's better than buying the wrong thing and making her feel awkward. And she gets to choose something she truly loves, which is a win for both of you.
You know what else helps? Timing. Don't do this when the store is crowded. Go during a quiet hour when you can take your time and think clearly.
Yes. There's nothing worse than standing in line with a bunch of people behind you, holding a lacy bra in your hands, just praying the checkout goes fast.
In the end, it's not just about buying lingerie. It's about doing something thoughtful for someone you care about. And when you shift your focus to that, the embarrassment doesn't feel so bad anymore.
Exactly. It becomes less about awkwardness and more about appreciation. And honestly, she'll probably be touched that you made the effort. even if you did look like a deer in headlights the whole time.
One thing we haven't talked about yet is how important communication is when it comes to this stuff. I mean, buying lingerie isn't just about the gift. It's also about understanding your partner better.
That's a great point. Some people are super comfortable talking about intimate things, but for others, it can be a little uncomfortable, especially if you're still getting to know each other.
Exactly. But asking her opinion doesn't have to be awkward. You could say something simple like, "Hey, I was thinking of getting you something special. What kind of things do you like?" That way, you're showing thoughtfulness and avoiding guesswork.
And she might actually enjoy being part of the process. A lot of women appreciate it when their partner wants to make them feel confident and beautiful. It can lead to some pretty fun conversations, too.
Plus, it builds trust. She'll feel more comfortable sharing what she likes and doesn't like, which makes future gift buying a whole lot easier.
You're right. And it's not just about lingerie either. It's about learning how to talk openly as a couple. If you can talk about underwear without getting weird, you can talk about pretty much anything.
Also, a good trick is to make it playful. Instead of being all serious, you can say something like, "I'm on a mission to find the perfect gift, but I need a few hints." That turns it into a fun little game.
Totally. That keeps the mood light, and she'll probably be more than happy to drop a few clues.
Now, here's another idea. If you've been in a relationship for a while, you could even go shopping together. That way, she can pick out what she likes, and you can be part of the experience.
Some couples actually enjoy that. It becomes a shared moment like a little date. And you'd be surprised how many guys come out of the store saying, "That wasn't so bad."
And let's be honest, it also takes the pressure off. You don't have to guess. You just focus on enjoying the moment and learning more about her preferences.
I think the main lesson here is don't let embarrassment stop you from doing something meaningful. Yes, it's personal. Yes, it might feel strange at first, but with the right attitude, it becomes something positive.
It's all about intention. If you're doing it with love and respect, that will always come through, no matter how nervous you are.
Exactly. And who knows? She might even tease you a little about how nervous you looked, but deep down, she'll love it.
You know what's funny? After all the stress, hesitation, and awkward moments, most guys end up feeling kind of proud after they've done it. Like, yeah, I survived lingerie shopping and I didn't totally mess it up.
It's true. Once you get through it the first time, the mystery sort of fades. It's just another type of shopping, but with a little more meaning behind it.
And honestly, the more effort you put in, the more she notices. It's not really about the underwear itself. It's about the fact that you went out of your comfort zone for her.
Exactly. That effort tells her a lot. It says you pay attention, you care about her preferences, and you're willing to go the extra mile, even if it means standing in a lingerie store feeling totally out of place.
And let's not forget, lingerie is a personal gift. It's not like buying a scarf or perfume. It takes thought, sensitivity, and a little bit of courage.
But when done right, it can be a beautiful way to celebrate your relationship. It becomes more than just a gift. It's a gesture of closeness and appreciation.
And hey, for anyone listening who still feels nervous about doing it, just remember, there's no perfect way to shop for lingerie. But there is a respectful, thoughtful way, and that's what matters most.
If you go in with kindness, a little preparation, and a sense of humor, you're already winning. Mistakes might happen, but they just make the story better.
And if nothing else, you'll come out with a new vocabulary. Push-up bras, silky nighties, boy shorts, cheeky cuts. All part of the adventure.
Who knew lingerie shopping could turn into a crash course in language, relationships, and self-confidence.
Exactly. It's one of those unexpected life lessons you never thought you'd need. But once you've been through it, you're a little wiser, a little braver, and maybe just a bit more romantic.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. Women's underwear.
Lingerie.
Leave this place.
Get out of here.
Clothes you use for sleeping.
Sleepwear.
A nightdress, nightgown.
Nighties.
A bra that raises the breasts so as to offer additional size through padding.
Push-up bra.
Informal way of saying underwear.
Undies.
Women's underwear worn on the lower part of the body.
Bikini briefs.
Women's underwear that looks like little tight shorts.
Boy shorts.
Extremely embarrassing.
Mortifying.
Women's underwear.
Panties.
Clothes a woman wears to support her breasts.
Bra.
Type of underwear that men use which are similar to shorts.
Boxer shorts.
Normal or traditional underwear for men, similar to the shape and size of panties.
Briefs.
A term used to describe when a person is not wearing any underwear.
Going commando.
A garment worn under the clothing used to mold and shape the torso into a desired shape for aesthetic or medical purposes.
Corset.
British English, same as panties.
Knickers.
Let's try that faster. British English, same as panties.
Knickers.
Women's underwear.
Lingerie.
Type of underwear that men use which are similar to shorts.
Boxer shorts.
Women's underwear.
Panties.
Normal or traditional underwear for men, similar to the shape and size of panties.
Briefs.
Informal way of saying underwear.
Undies.
A nightdress, nightgown.
Nighties.
A garment worn under the clothing used to mold and shape the torso into a desired shape for aesthetic or medical purposes.
Corset.
Clothes a woman wears to support her breasts.
Bra.
A term used to describe when a person is not wearing any underwear.
Going commando.
Clothes you use for sleeping.
Sleepwear.
A bra that raises the breasts so as to offer additional size through padding.
Push-up bra.
Leave this place.
Get out of here.
Women's underwear worn on the lower part of the body.
Bikini briefs.
Women's underwear that looks like little tight shorts.
Boy shorts.
Extremely embarrassing.
Mortifying.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
This sucks. Now I have to wait another hour for the next train. That movie sucks. It's so boring. I suck at basketball. Let's have a look around before we decide. I don't know what I'm gonna get. I haven't had a look around yet. Do you want to have a look around and see what's available? I don't like lacy dresses. These flowers are so lacy and delicate. It's too lacy. I don't like it. Mortifying. And then I fell in front of everyone. It was mortifying. Mortifying. I was completely mortified when I realized what I had done. Mortifying. It must have been mortifying for her when she realized her underwear was showing. All right, let's get this over with and go home. We have one thing left to do, so let's just get it over with. Can we get this over with by Monday?